so long, we've been here, we've been trying.
Siwa Onipane yobereya, Onipane yobereya, yeah, boniseni, akoko pepe biatono, I just say ono anywhere. Onipane yobereya, Onipane yobereya, yeah, boniseni, akoko pepe biatono, I just say ono anywhere. Nana kwami ambedo say Ofra anywhere. Wampaya so ya say Ofra anywhere. Listen, me ya Ofra noa ya toma mitieno na me ho preme se anka me ye penyintemo na me ankaza me di me uso wa brapo imu nenso se na mpanyia wo we enna fomo onipane yo bireya anywhere nana kwami ambedo se Ofra anywhere. Wampaya so ya say Ofra anywhere.
Get me York's rent-a-car. I need a car in 15 minutes. Hi, I'm Jake Morris, and I travel globally. But when I'm in Ghana, York's Rent-A-Car is my reliable choice for safety and comfort on the road. York's Rent-A-Car provides comprehensive logistics services to mainly blue-chip companies as well as individual clients.
At the time, we needed a car rental service, and York's fitted in very well per our standards.
Their services is top-notch. Drivers are on time.
It was beautiful to see them behind the wheels. And anytime they pick up a guest, the guests were very, very happy.
The car is in.
Already?
Yes.
Excellent. York's Rent-A-Car provides services and expertise that include meet and greet services at the airport, car rental, driver personal outsourcing, and vehicle detailing.
What's the problem? Izio, I told you, York's Rent-A-Car delivers world-class service to its customers, having their highest safety and comfort in mind. So watch you. Go over, open for him.
York's Rent-A-Car runs 24/7 operations where customers can make car reservations and inquiries of our services online and also call our hotline.
Hello and good evening to another wonderful SpringBoard Hangout. The SpringBoard Hangout is our weekly program where we hang out with people who are making it, and most importantly, we have some fun and we have some education, and we generally enjoy each other's company. This week, we are continuing our 5-part series on women on the go, which looks at the 360 women and what they're bringing to our lives. Last time when we had Rosie in the studio, she talked about strategy, she talked about having a clear vision, and she said people with the right skills are needed to bring the vision to bear. And therefore, we went searching and searched and searched, looked under some nooks and crannies, and then all of a sudden, here we have two wonderful, wonderful ladies. We have to my immediate right, we have Abigail Welbeck, who is the director of counseling services at Ashesi, career counseling services at Ashesi University. And then we have Sika Goka, who is an etiquette expert. So we've got the vision, we've got the people. How do we unearth their potential to ensure that? they are well able to bring out the best in the workplace and even in their individual lives. Ladies and gentlemen, I welcome you to today's SpringBoard Hangout. My name is Comfort Ocran. So, if we're talking about Abigail, Director of Career Services is a career and professional development coach. Coach. Okay. So I'm thinking about somebody, when they're playing football, and I mean, like, if you are in Man U, for instance, like, you have maybe some soldier saying that, hello, move here, that kind of stuff. Yeah, that kind of stuff. So that's a coach. That's a coach. Okay. And Abigail has had about 10 years at Ashesi University helping, and now she's the director. When you look at her, she's so young. Can you see that? Can you see that she's so young? Can you see? I mean, that's Abigail. So she's also her role at Ashesi has ensured a 90% placement after school in various job areas. So that means that she's really on top of her game. When we come to Sika, who has had a fantastic experience in the banking, but right now is working her craft in the etiquette business. She helps in what Albert said, bring about sustainability in human lives. So therefore, let's go right into it, and let's not talk plenty. Abigail, please help me. Tell me a little bit about your journey and what brought you into career development. Did you always know you'd be a career counselor? No. Okay, so tell us a bit about that journey.
Okay, I started with in the course of science, right? I started studying science because I quite remember that my parents were really keen on getting me onto a medical doctor route.
Okay.
And so I studied sciance in Holy Child, and then I went to University of Ghana, and I started out with biological sciences because obviously that's the route you take if you want to go into medicine. But I knew I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I did know that I didn't want to go and do medicine. But I had to really understand how to make that argument and put it across to my parents and let them understand that I actually knew what I was talking about. So there was a point that happened, and then after I did 1 year biological sciences in Legon, and then I switched to the humanities. So I finished with a bachelor's in psychology and information studies. Even all that time, I still didn't have any particular career guidance. I'm telling you, I stumbled into career development, which is actually when I did my MBTI, that was the role, or that was the occupation that aligned very well with the kind of person that I was. So I knew I loved psychology, and so I went in to do a master's in occupational and organizational psychology, and it took me to career development, and I absolutely love it, and I've been working on Ashesi for, like you said, 10 years now. I work with a team of amazing career advisors, and it's been great. Being able to impact students' lives and journeys and see how it actually, pans out over the years. It's been amazing. I can
see you as one graduation here.
Yes. This is the last. I think it's the last physical graduation we had before COVID came.
Okay.
Yes.
I see. Okay, so then I had MBTI, so we'll look at that later when we go. Sika, what about you? She stumbled and got into where she's just blossoming. Did you also do the same way, or yours was a straight path and you knew exactly what you wanted to do and therefore you just went for it?
Definitely not a straight path. I think very much like Abigail. Well, I went to university and I studied business studies, but I came out of, with a degree, but I wasn't really sure what direction to go into. I applied for, various different jobs, and then I got 2 job offers. One that was actually paying considerably more, but for some reason I was gravitating towards the banking industry because I felt like I could learn a lot more, and there'd be real career progression if I was good in that setting. And I think it was one of the best things that I did because it really underscored where I am today.
Okay.
In the banking environment, as you know, it's a very disciplined environment. You don't really get much room to make up the rules. You're governed by very strict codes of conduct, and very much like etiquette, it's about the do's and don'ts. in that environment. If you fall out of the rules, you know, you could be prosecuted. You could be fined under the Financial Services Act. Etiquette is about social do's and don'ts, you know, how you relate to people. And I think that allowed me to really grow as a person, and I soon rose up in the ranks. I came in as a teller. I could have had an attitude that, I've got a degree, why am I coming in at entry level? But I really wanted to understudy all of the different departments. And that really helped me naturally to progress as a manager and, even in my leadership journey. And then I've worked in hospitality as well. So I'm always customer facing, I'm always dealing with people. And one thing that I learned throughout both of these disciplines is that, people buy into people. And it doesn't matter where you find yourself or, the errors you make, even coming up, developing yourself. People find that when you relate to them in a very respectful manner, and that you are polite and you are sincere about what you're doing, it opens many doors. And I think I've always admired people who are just naturally seen as, nice and understanding and caring. And that fascination with just people who are generally admired for who they are, that led me down this track that, we could do more. We'll always be governed by our organizations, our HR policies, etc. But at some point, you have to separate yourself and say, who am I? What can I do differently? How can I add value? And how can I really show people my true personality? And how can I be a general all-round team player? And that's what really attracted me to this world of etiquette that I absolutely love. It's opened many doors. It's allowed me to meet different people. And I work with, the young people. I work with adults. I work with professionals, because one thing that all of those people, all of my clients have in common is that they assume, just like I do, that there's always something to learn.
There's always something to learn.
Always something to learn.
Okay, so then based on she doing her parts, telling us about her journey, she talked a bit about the personality, she talked a bit about understanding yourself. And I know that is what you do to help your clients, and today all of us are your clients. all of us listening online and on via Zoom or via Facebook, we are all your clients. So therefore, if we trying to discover ourselves, we're trying to find out who we are, how do we do it? Is it easy?
What I'll say is, there are a lot of people in your life that could help you with that conversation.
Okay.
I don't think on this side on this part of our world we have those conversations enough. Right from the home, right from primary school, right to junior secondary, senior secondary. Before you get to university, you have to have people who will ask you those questions. Who do you think you are? Where do you see yourself? What do you want to do? What value do you want to bring to the table, right? Questions that tease out who you are innately, right? Beyond, the factors that you see around your life every day. So you grow up in an environment that, for example, you've seen everybody in your family going into medicine or being medical doctors. And so that's the only thing you know. And so when you're asked, which is a question you're asked a lot, what do you want to do in the future? We immediately talk about something that's very common to us, right? But we don't get people who ask us questions like, who are you? Asking questions that tease out who is inside of you, right? Because that's where the conversation starts. Once you know who you are, then you are able to connect that with what kind of opportunities you want to pursue that will support the person you are, that will bring you out and make you shine, so that you can even add greater value wherever you find yourself in life, right? So that you are not just following trends, you're not following what people think you should do, you're not following what you see your friends doing, but you know yourself and you are guided. There are guided conversations, and once again, you ask what a coach does. A coach guides and counsels, right? So these are guided conversations and questions that will open you up to possibilities.
Help me. I'm lost here. Please help me find myself. I beg you. I beg.
Sure.
Because sometimes does who you are is a loaded question.
It is.
Who does who you are look at what you like? Does it look at what are the things that make you tick, or is just that maybe I like fufu and banku? No, there's no combination like fufu and banku, is there? No. But there's fufu and some sauce.
Yeah.
I mean, what does that who you are drill down to?
Yes, it's absolutely all of the things you said, right? Right from what are my strengths, what are my weaknesses, how do I react or behave in certain situations, right? It doesn't mean that you find answers that are perfect in all of those questions, right? You will understand the areas or the gaps that you have, right? But what that does is you are cognizant now of what you can do and what you need to work on, right? And so when that happens, it gives you the ability to now figure out how to work with these things. Even when you ask a question about what do you like, what you like can even be influenced by other people.
Okay.
So you have to have even deeper questions that are probing into why you like what you like.
Okay,
You know,
so it's more about why I tick.
why you tick, what makes you tick, why it makes you tick.
Okay.
Because I can say that, oh, I like fufu and lime soup, but maybe I like it because I've grown up eating fufu and lime soup. But if I'm exposed to fried rice and chicken, I would realize, oh, actually, I love that better than. But if I don't get exposed to that, if the questions are not asked, if the opportunity for exposure and exploration doesn't happen, I get stuck in fufu and lime soup.
And you live there for the rest of your life. Oh, don't do that to yourself. Don't do that to yourself
And
at
there are
all.
actually great personality tests that can help you to start those conversations. If you don't have someone who can help you tease those questions out or those answers out, there are personality types like Myers-Briggs type indicator. There's a 16PF. You can go online. There are free versions of these online that you can take to just get an initial understanding of yourself, right, and get some support in that direction.
Okay. So we'll go for a quick musical break. When we'll come back, we'll dive a little bit because Sika is here and she's nodding too. And I know she did some tricks. No juju, just tricks. So we'll come to and ask Sika about that. Please don't go anywhere. Let us know, where are you joining us from? Because we love, as you know, to hear from you. Tell us where you are joining us from. And as we are going along, if you have any questions, please ask us because they are there. They are the experts. Etiquette. And then would we have our career coach as well. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Onipane yobereya, onipane yobereya, ye boni seni, akoko pepe biatono, ajise onoa anywhere. Onipane yobereya, ye boni seni. Akoko pepe mi atono, aji se onoa anywhere. Nana kwa mi ambedo se obra, anywhere. Wampaya nso ya se obra. Anywhere. Listen, me ya ofranoa yetoma mitieno na me ho premise anka me ye penyintemo na me ankaza me di me hoso ewa brapo imu nenso se na mpenye wo we enna fomo onipane yo bireya anywhere. Nana kwa mi ambedo se obra. Yes, say obra. Anywhere. Listen, ofranoa yetoma mitieno na me ho premise anka me ye penyintemo na me ankaza me di me oso ewa brabo imo nensu sena mpenya wo we enna fomo onipane obireya anywhere nana kwami amfero say opera
Welcome back. And I tell you, I mean, that opera song, it's something that I really love. And Albert has a little trick up his sleeve shortly. We had the privilege of interviewing some wonderful old gentleman in the guitar music band. I'm not going to tell you the name, but please wait, look on Virtual University. You see him soon. And when you see it, you love that interview. Anyway, welcome back. And we're talking about, we had just listened to Abigail tell us about the tiny little building blocks of what career counseling and just the idea that you must look at yourself to see what you like. And the liking mustn't just be, I like this, but why? And when you're answering that why, it gives you an idea about what makes you up and not just something that people are talking about. So now we are coming to you, Sika. Sika, we talk about etiquette.
Yes.
And sometimes people just think that etiquette is just saying, how are you? I'm fine, thank you. But you talked to me and you showed me a different angle that I hadn't looked at it before. Could you tell us what the basic little things about etiquette is?
Okay, so, you talked about greeting, and that's a fundamental thing that happens initially when you first meet somebody. But, you even have to go back a few steps to even the sort of impression that you give somebody straight away. Etiquette is very much about not offending people and about fitting in. And that's not to say that you're not an individual and you don't have your own style and taste, but it's about what is socially acceptable behavior when you belong to a particular group or society, and there's a lot to learn. I mean, I'm an etiquette coach, but honestly, having grown up in England for most of my life, I wasn't aware of certain things until I came to Ghana. And, you make a couple of mistakes and people will actually, either be offended by your behavior, because that's the thing about etiquette.
Tell me the one that
so, you go somewhere and you walk into a room and you think, okay, well, I've been brought up well, I'm very polite, let me greet people. And then you start left to right, because that's what you do everywhere else. But here, no, you must start right to left, So sometimes you'll see and somebody will just be like, and, they just think you're being bad-mannered. But really and truly, you were not taught this. And that's what I'm saying. I'm somebody who I felt has been exposed to a lot. I'm polite, I'm educated. But until you are taught certain things, you're not going to know about it. And you're not going to know about potentially offending somebody. And that's really why I do what I do. It's not to be condescending or to teach people, how to behave a certain way. My approach is more about, are you lacking this knowledge? Would you do better knowing how to comport yourself in this social setting, etc.? And I find that, people are responding because most of the time people realize they don't have all the answers. Certain things you have to be taught. Most of us are brought up with basic manners. Even as a child, as a baby, you're very proud of yourself when you learn something, and you even learn how to say please and thank you. Your parents will pat you on the back and you're very gleeful as well. But with etiquette, as you grow up, you have to expose yourself to things that you didn't otherwise know, just to allow you to get along better in society. And one of the things that Abigail talked about was knowing yourself. Some of it, I believe, falls under like emotional intelligence and knowing what makes you tick. But with etiquette as well, it's about knowing what actually repels other people against you as well, and know how to handle yourself in social situations and even in your corporate environment, you know, how to speak to people. And etiquette, it really comes down to even how you send your emails, general correspondence, even your WhatsApps, how you address people. These are all the things that you have to pay attention to when you are developing your career, because, we buy into people at the end of the day. And yes, you may have the best results, you may, get a first in your degree, but what kind of employee are you going to be? What kind of a leader are you going to be? How are you going to relate to other people? Are you going to offend them? Are you going to be the sort of person that pushes people? Are you going to be the sort of person that helps others to develop their careers? Are you going to have an open door policy, or are you going to be a dictator? And, so these are the things that, with learning about etiquette principles, you're able to help other people, boost their confidence as well, and even develop yourself as an individual.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. And so Abigail, here we are looking, we've looked at an individual who has put in place, or is now putting in place, the things that would help him or her be more socially cohesive, and as Albert said, to bring about sustainability in the workplace. But the person doesn't yet know that this particular workspace will suit me, or that particular workspace will suit me. So then, would you recommend, or what able to be able to fit in, or I'll be able to be someone who's a team player, or whatever the person seeks to do?
Yes, the key word here is exploration.
Okay.
Yes.
The key word.
The key word.
Guys, the key word is exploration. Okay.
So I talked about knowing yourself. The next step to that is, once you know yourself, you will be guided to understand what kind of careers that you can pursue, or people with your personality type could pursue.
Okay.
What you need to do with that information is, or even if you just have a couple of careers you're thinking about, you need to explore. You need to explore, find opportunities to work in those fields, find opportunities to shadow someone or a professional within that capacity, find opportunities to even hold informational interviews where you are talking to somebody in your field of interest and learning from their journey and asking them questions about what you can do even at the level you are at to get to where they are at, right? So these are all exploratory opportunities that gets you to test the waters, because you can think you will love a particular occupation or career, you would get into it and realize this is definitely not for me, right? And so don't wait to get fully immersed into it and realize you've made a mistake. Find opportunities very early on in your career to explore and test the waters and find out and figure out what works for you, what doesn't. And don't just go into it and say, oh, this doesn't work for me. Make sure you are open-minded, right? And you are taking advantage of every opportunity that presents itself. You never know. You may go into one particular career or exploratory opportunity. It may not be the one you want, but I call it acting like a sponge, right? Mm-hmm. Soaking up as much information and skills and experiences that you can, building networks along the way, because you never know where that opportunity could even take you to. So and this one thing that a lot of our youth don't really appreciate is they feel like, oh, I'm my own self, I can go and do, and I think that's where the etiquette also comes in play, is how do you look at an opportunity and take the most out of it, even if that's not the path you want to pursue, right? So making sure you are building great networks, treating people the right way. If somebody sends you to go and buy cocoa, of course it shouldn't happen. Mm-hmm. But what attitude are you, doing that with? How are people viewing you, so that somebody can say, oh, I know this person, I want to give this opportunity to, right? So these are all opportunities to explore, and the attitude is a key part of that exploration, is with what attitude are you approaching the exploratory journey with? Mm. So at the tail end of that, you begin to tease out where you want to go and make a more informed decision about where you want to go with your career. Explore. Please make sure you get opportunities to explore.
Explore, but it's easier said than done, though, because if you're looking at the bread and butter and you don't have that bread and butter, it's not that easy to explore. Would you say then, when we are in school, that's one of the best times that we can use those vacations to explore?
I would say so. I would say make the most out of your journey when you're young.
Okay.
You have less responsibilities and more opportunities for you to make decisions that are very wild decisions, right? But it's still not too late when you're older.
Okay.
You can still keep your bread and butter job or situation running. There's even no age for an internship. You can find a way to get into an opportunity to intern, to shadow someone, to ask questions, asking questions, being curious, asking questions, right? Volunteer for something over the weekend. You know, find an opportunity to get inserted into the field. Network is also very important. What kind of networks do you have to support where you want to go? How are you building and maintaining those networks, right? So it's never too late. Never say never. It's never too late.
It's never too late. So I think, Sika, so in this case, how, look at me. I think I'm 15 years. I'm not very sure now. And I'm looking into the etiquette field.
Yes.
And one of the things I heard, I don't know how far it's true, that helped me, is the fact that when you are in the etiquette field, or part of the etiquette in the workplace is that when you get in at the as a young person, when your boss is coming in, you carry the bags and take it in. Is that?
So this is exactly why etiquette is so interesting, because it's all about what is culturally acceptable for that particular environment.
Okay.
If that's what everybody else does in this particular organization that you're in, naturally, if you don't do that, then you're going to be seen as the odd one out, or maybe the one that's not as polite and helpful. This can also be tricky when you're coming from a completely different environment where you call your bosses by their first name, just like I did. But here, you know, maybe you call them Madame or Sir, if not even their full name, Mr. or Mrs. So, you know, you really have to pay attention wherever you find yourself. And I think, you know, what she said, you know, wherever you find yourself, ask the questions and watch what other people do. Don't be shy, because if you don't and you just sort of make assumptions, that's where you find yourself offending other people, you know. So it's really, really important to apply whatever the cultural norm is for that particular organization or club or group or society. Yeah.
Would you call that having the emotional intelligence? Oh, there you are. Sorry, I just saw with a very nice setup, showing people how to have a fine dining experience. Yes. Oh, so fine dining experience is part of
Absolutely.
What are some of the things that people do that are not good at the dining table?
You know, most of the things that we do here when we're young, and our parents are always telling us, you know, keep your elbows off the table, you know, don't speak with your mouth full. But the thing is, people still do this. And they don't really pay attention that nobody really wants to see what you're about to digest. And, you know, also bad manners, especially when we're sharing food as well. People, you know, if you're in a group setting and you're passing food around, especially like in a Chinese style, what they call family service, rice bowls and different things being passed around. Some people will heap their plates without thinking about, you know, whether or not there's enough to make it round for everybody. And, you know, there's even a correct way to pass food around, you know, which is in a particular order. Of course, I'll reveal all of these things if you were to attend one of my fine dining experiences. But, you know, you'll be surprised at how much there is to learn about something simple like sitting down and having a meal. But honestly, you know, one shouldn't take this for granted. Many business deals are brokered over a dinner, over a meal, and most of the time, you know, maybe your next employer or the person who's going to land you your next contract is really taking you out because they want to get a sense of who you are as a person. How do you speak to waiters? You know, just because the dinner is being bought for you, are you going to order everything off the menu? You know, are you going to drink more than the person that invited you? Are you even going to take the best seat in the house and neglect that somebody is actually hosting you? So there's so many things to take notice of, and these are the things that people are looking out to make a judgment about you. So, you know, it's not something to be, you know, laughed at or to be taken slightly. These are things that can actually help develop you in a very real social sense. And even networking, when you go out and your job is to meet people, to build alliances and relationships, some people find it very hard to do. So, you know, I can teach you how to do that, walk in a place with confidence and make an introduction and strike up a conversation and tell people what you're capable of doing and the value you're able to add to either their business or life. All of these things are about etiquette, but naturally, if you come off and you give people the wrong impression, nobody's going to want to deal with you.
Right. I have Martha Konama says, hello, Comfort. Hi, how are you? Good to see you today. And then I also have from YouTube, I have Frederick Welbeck. Who do you think Frederick Welbeck is? And he said that he's got a front. Of course, you have to have the front seat because otherwise, when we come home today, wahala. Okay. Then we have Selassie Nupe. He says, I'm not missing this for anything. Excited about this. And then Lefania Gibbs says that next to you, Frederick. And so they're exchanging high fives there. Thank you. And Sika and Abigail, this is from Tucci. Okay, Tucci, saying that loving this conversation. So you can see you've got people all excited about what you are sharing today because they are really enjoying themselves. As we go on, you mentioned something earlier in your submission when you talked about the fact that as people do those internships and they discover areas about themselves and what are potential things that they can delve into, potential things that get me out of here, and they scream their heads out. They are then more able to give of themselves. So then you have discovered that this thing is for me or this thing is not for me. Just like how 100 years ago, I knew that if they put me in the medical field, there's going to be disaster. So I never, ever went anywhere close to them. Do you get me? So you've discovered where your niche is. You've discovered what really makes you tick. How do you then develop yourself in that space?
Okay, so once you identify where you want to be at, you need to identify the skill sets that are required to shine in that particular area. And then you go on to develop those skill sets. Okay.
So first you discover yourself, and then you find what skill sets are needed.
Exactly.
And then you develop. I beg you, please do a little bit of the skill set needed and then a little bit of the what you need to, how you...
Okay. So if you want to go into an occupation that deals a lot with people, Shika just mentioned about what she does, and she's a lot of people-facing work, right? You need to look at how you're communicating, how you're treating people. You know, you're smiling right now. You know, are you that person who can smile at people? Are you very understanding? Because you're going to dealing with people is not easy. You know, and you have to have the heart to do that, right? And understand, for example, things like things are not always what they seem on the face level. Being able to dig deeper and provide people with support and guidance, those kind of skill sets, right? If you understand, first of all, what they are, then you look at how do I build that? What opportunities can I take advantage of to begin to build? First of all, the building is experiential one, but also what institutions can also support you to learn. The home can support you to learn some of these skills, and then your school should also be able to support that. Then you go into experiential learning where you put it into practice. Once you put it into practice, you begin to see gaps here and there, begin to fill those gaps. Then you become very proficient in those skill sets. That's why employers always want people who've worked in industry before. It's not just about gaining the qualifications. Anybody can do that. But have you had some working experience? Have you tested what if it is like in the workspace? And how you talk to people, how you communicate, whether up or down? How do you how do you work well in a team? What are your leadership capabilities or potential leadership capabilities, etc., right? And so all of these things you begin to harness when you put it into practice, and you learn by doing. That's experiential learning, right? So these are the things to harness those skills before you dive deep into the field that you want to go into. Then you are ready. You have the technical skills, then you have the soft skills, you have the experience, you have the networks, you are set. Doesn't mean you won't make mistakes, but at least they're not terrible mistakes. You can learn from that and move on, right?
Excellent. The conversation is so interesting. Very so before we go to guys, stop worrying me. Because there's okay, Sika, there's this thing where you have learned on this, and you've learned the skills, you've learned the technical, you've also seen how you can harness your social networks. You've built very good networks, and you're going on in the field, and then people now see you as an authority to refer to. However, one day somehow you make a misjudgment. How do you handle misjudgments? Is there any etiquette concerning how to handle mistakes?
Yeah, and I would say...
And give me one practical example.
I mean, look, it's all about being sincere and authentic. We're human beings and we will always make mistakes, but I think owning up to your mistakes is one of the best ways to endear people to you. Sometimes things can start off and it's a disaster. And I mean, even in my early career in banking, I made some mistakes. I lost money. In an ATM machine. And I was quite young at the time, maybe like £20,000, and that was a lot back in the day. We're talking, 10, 15 years ago. And, I could have just tried to hide it or something. I mean, eventually it would have come out because this is a bank. At the end of the day, there are checks and balances, but I could have bought myself some time. But, immediately I owned up to it and I asked for help. And it really taught me something about retracing my steps and actually, discovering, how to look for missing things, money, and balancing. And in the end, we found the missing money in the ATM all right, but it just wasn't keyed in properly. Okay. And this really helped because, I didn't want anybody, to think that I was, the new young black girl who was stealing money. But what it is that even in my search for help, turning to people, they got to know me and my story and the challenges, and I ended up having a lot of support. Okay. So I had people to turn to throughout my development in that role, all the way up to managerial level. Wow. And it was something that people really appreciated. Now, I could have, sort of hidden it or whatever, or even blamed somebody else for that error. And I think when you have integrity and you're sincere, people will always, have compassion for you and empathy as well. And then you should also have the same for others as you're developing as well, and not have this arrogant sort of behavior about you just because now you've risen up in the ranks. You have to also support other people as they are coming up, Okay.
So then, unfortunately, we'll now go for the game changer, and we'll have the game changer by Jojo Ocran. Jojo today is talking about an interesting topic. Let's listen to Jojo.
Today's game changer is for the creators. And make no mistake, you are a creator. Whether you blog, podcast, make music, make YouTube videos, or anything else, you count. But creating content isn't easy on the best of days, and doing it consistently is even harder. So today's game changer is simply a reminder to keep going and keep creating. Why? Let's ask Mariah Carey. Mariah recorded the album Merry Christmas in 1994. And while the album wasn't a world beater, one song on it stood the test of time. Yep, I'm talking about All I Want for Christmas Is You. Mariah wrote the holiday bop in just 15 minutes, and initially she didn't think much of it. But the world had other ideas. This week, our game changer is dividends. Despite being written over 2 decades ago, All I Want for Christmas pays Mariah Carey till this day. By 2000, its highest chart position was 84th. But due to internet streaming, the song has hit new heights in recent years. The song was streamed over 12 million times on Christmas Day in 2020, causing it to finally hit number 1 on the Billboard charts 25 years after its release. Oh, and by the way, the song has paid Mariah over $60 million in royalties. So here's the point. Keep creating, because you never know which of your creations will finally break through. And don't forget, all it takes is one. You know how our parents always warn us that the internet is forever? That applies to good things too. Your creations can pay dividends for years, whether financially, by creating professional opportunities, or in a million other ways. So stay consistent, keep creating, and wait for the breakthrough. This has been The Game Changer with Jojo Ocran. Have a phenomenal week.
Welcome back to the SpringBoard Hangouts. The SpringBoard Hangouts, as you know, is your educative program as well as your fun program where we find out things with different people. And today we are hanging out with Sika and Abigail. We are looking at our career and we are looking at our etiquette. And we are getting a complete picture before we run away today. So then, before we went on the break, Sika was talking about the need to own your mistakes and talked about integrity, and that brought me to something. Yes, we have discovered the skills. We have discovered we've honed that particular skill that we've got. We've been able to even experiment, or we've been able to use it, and we realize that we are really great at that. Do we need to have values? And if we do, what kind of values should one look at?
So definitely.
And in that case, you can add your values that hold you.
Yes, definitely. Values are very foundational. They are a fabric of who we are. You definitely have to have values because that will inform how you behave and what you do.
Okay.
And so, absolutely, I cannot talk about the values for other people, but like you said, I can tell you what my personal values are. At the top of the chart is my faith and my God, right? I don't joke with my God. I am a passionate believer and follower of Jesus Christ, and I love God, and everything about me is so that's the center of who I am, and everything else speaks to that. And anybody who knows me, I don't keep quiet about that, right? I speak it as much as I can, right?
You know what?
Okay.
I listened to an episode where you talked about your mother praying for you.
Oh, my YouTube channel. So yes, I have a YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yes. And tell us a little bit about that episode. What happened?
So I was doing a testimony series around how we should be intentional about listening to the voice of the Holy Spirit and being able to impart into people's lives, whether it's supporting in different ways, right? Mm-hmm. And so I had people who were sharing about times when other people had been instrumental in their journey. Mm-hmm. And so I was talking about how my mom's prayers saved me from an attack, a late night attack when I was in university, I think my second year of school. And I'd gone out with a friend of mine to this program, and we came back. We were coming back around 3 a.m. It was late. And the taxi driver took a sudden turn, and my antennas were already up. Like, I was just suspicious of this driver. And he parks in I think the switchback road, which is a very quiet. Very quiet. And around 3 a.m. too, there was literally nobody on the road. And he says he has to sort out his light or something, goes into the boot, and a full-grown human being, a man with a machete, actually comes out of the boot, about to attack my friend and I. They actually came, and it was bad, and trying to get out of the car, we couldn't, and I managed to get out, and I fell. There's a gutter there, and I injured myself, and I was just running and screaming, and what happened? The turn around. What happened with that is just at that point, all of a sudden, because these people could have done anything to us. It was late. All of a sudden, they just decided. Were in a hurry to just get rid of us, enter the taxi and run. There was no police or anybody around. What was chasing them? What did they see? And so later on, after everything, and I was narrating to my mom later on, I think a day or two after, she told me that, because she was at a prayer camp at that time. And she had said that, so the exact time I mentioned the attack was happening, she said she had felt a strong prompting to pray for me. And she had prayed. She didn't understand. Then I think the following morning, my dad calls her and says, this has happened. And she was just thankful that she actually followed that Holy Spirit intuition to pray. So we're just talking about how prayer is very important. If you can't give money to anybody, if you want to help someone, don't think prayer cannot do anything. Prayer works wonders. How can you pray for someone? You'll be surprised what your prayer will do for them.
So, thank you. I mean, that testimony was a very powerful one. So, what are your other values?
Yes. So, family is next. Family is next. Yes, absolutely. Family. Integrity, right? 2 things that I've learned in my journey that I carry along with me is, like she said, when you make mistakes, you own up to your mistakes. I've made some terrible mistakes, especially in my career, and I learned from that, right? And I had to be consistent in doing the right thing for people to see that I had learned from that experience. And then finally, it's about, actually 2 more. One is people. I mentioned earlier, things are not always what they seem.
Okay.
We are too quick to label people. We are too quick to judge people. We are too quick to, because we have our own set of how we think and how we think things should be. We interpret things our way. But the situation may not be that way. I may come into a room, and I think Mrs. Ocran, when I came into the room, she just gave me some eye. She eyed me. She doesn't like me. She's rude. But for all you know, if I ask you, you probably were not even thinking about, your mind was on something else. And so before don't even make judgment. Have a conversation to understand, right? And most of the times you realize that there are deep-seated issues that people just need support and help with. That if you can go in and help somebody, right, make the person influence and impact their lives, right, rather than labeling. You realize that even that label you thought you wanted to give to them, they didn't deserve it. They just needed help, right? That is it. So don't be quick to label. Understand people. Have conversations to understand, right? And then finally is, how do you pay it forward? When somebody does something good for you, look for an opportunity to pay it forward. That is how we'll create a cycle of doing good and being kind, being generous and gracious to one another in society. Thank you.
Okay. And so with that, I will just read this quick one that Lefania gives. Karen from Chado says, Abigail is not just my career coach, but my prayer partner, my sister, my best friend, and my angel. I think career coaching is her ministry, to be honest. Thank you, Karen. So we got come to you, Sika. Please tell us, what are your values? Okay. I mean, what may have undergirded those values, please?
I mean, very similar to Abigail, family first for me. I don't know, but I don't know anybody else who spends as much time with their family as I do. There isn't a day that goes by that I'm not speaking to, either my sister, my brother, or my parents. We're a very, very close-knit family. And I think, with that as well, the integrity is at the forefront of everything that I do. I cannot, be calling myself an etiquette coach and not living out that lifestyle in everything that I do. And with that also naturally goes with the respect that I have for people, because it's something that I saw growing up. Like my dad and my mother, they're probably the most gentle people that I've ever met. They are, if you saw the word respect or gentle or lady in a textbook, their pictures would literally come out, because that's who they are. And, that's the very foundation on which I was brought up with. I would go to the hairdressing salon sometimes, and my dad would pick me up, and all the ladies there, they would really look forward to seeing him, because he's going to come in and he's going to look every single one of them in the eye, give them a greeting, and ask them how their day was. And they literally called him the gentleman. So, when you grow up with that kind of character, it's almost impossible that you would be anything else. And, with that as well, then the man is the respect. So family, integrity, manners, and respect are the things that I generally live by, and that's what I want to bring and add value to other people's lives as well, because I think that when we have that foundation, we can really harness and enjoy our relationships so much more and make other people feel good. Everything from just acknowledging your janitors, your gatesmen, everybody, all those people that serve you behind the scenes that are always there protecting you, let's not forget them. Let's always, remember to check in and say hello, how are you, and get to know their names, and, like she said, pay it forward. Sometimes just surprise them, do something for them that's totally unexpected, but at the heart of it, everybody deserves respect regardless of their social background, their upbringing, and that's what we have to inculcate as a society. That's it. Wow.
Well, Valerie Obazi says that Authenticity is everything, Sika. So, so, so true. Thank you, Valerie. Okay, so sometimes this is a part of the program that I hate when I have to end, but our time is gone. And so, thank you for giving us so, because I have a list of things still that I have to ask them, but the people in the studio are saying that we have to close. So we have to close. So thank you so much, Sika. Thank you so much, Abigail. Do you have any parting words for our people today?
I would say, I think I'll borrow the words the lady put there, be authentic, right? Okay. Be yourself. Okay. There's so much in society trying to make us, trying to force us to be people we are not, right? There's social media, there's so many things, right? But try and find what makes you be your true self and follow that, right? Whatever centers you in that direction, I think it's very important to be your true self. And don't leave God out of anything that you do. Trust me. Jesus said, without him, you can do nothing. So please, don't leave God out. Fantastic. Yeah. No, Shika, please.
So one part of it. Yes, I mean, what can I say that hasn't already been said? Stay true to yourself. But, I really believe in acknowledging people. I really believe in harnessing good relationships. And I think that, like you said before, we make judgments very quickly and we make assumptions. But I would always say that regardless of what somebody else is doing, maintain your integrity. Feel good about being good to other people, even if they're not necessarily going to reciprocate what you do. Have the peace of mind, knowing that you put your best foot forward and that you did the right thing. And, there's always somebody watching. So you could be inspiring somebody through that journey, that act of compassion and that, respect, those manners that you show. So, don't worry about what other people are doing. Stay in your lane and just be the best version of yourself that you can be. Yeah.
Fantastic. Oh, Shika, thank you so much. PM and you would enjoy yourself. Additionally, please remember that on Sunday we'll have our show again on ETV. So we'll see you on ETV on Sunday. Please make it a point to watch it. So Sika, this is from us. Sorry, Abigail. This is from us.
Thank you so
to
much.
you
Thank you.
for
really
coming
grateful.
there. And let me get up for you. And then this is from you to you, from us, for being with us today.
Thank you very
much. Today is our launch of the Core Tales, and you would really enjoy it.
Yeah, I look forward to reading it. Thank you.
I was just saying resilience. That's a really good
Yes,
one.
it is. They were fantastic stories. Actually, today I bought a pair of shoes from one of the gentlemen. Okay, so with that, we come to the end of today's program. And we'll see you next week. Don't go anywhere, because next week promises to be another exciting one. And by the way, as you know, 25th is my birthday. So 24th, we are having a party here. Please make sure you are here on 24th June. That one, that's me. Thank you, and God richly bless you. Have a fantastic weekend.
so long. We've been here, we've been trying to break free, chains that hurt us in our minds, but no more. This is a turning point. No more searching. The light has come. He's already turned around. Come on, turn around. No delays. Time to move on. Time to move on. He's already turned around. Where we are, where we going? Wrong decisions, wrong direction. Time to make the right change.